Listen to me. If you want to change your life, you have to stop playing small. You have to stop being average. You have to stop letting fear, doubt, and excuses hold you back. You gotta become a monster. And I'm not talking about some scary creature. I'm talking about the version of you that's unstoppable. The version of you that's willing to wake up at 3 a.m. The version of you that's willing to outwork everybody in the room. The version of you that refuses to quit no matter how hard life hits. Becoming a monster means you take control of your habits. You stop saying it tomorrow and you do it now. You stop waiting for perfect conditions because they don't exist. You create your own conditions. You stop worrying about what other people think because you know they don't pay your bills. They don't live your dreams. They don't fight your battles. You gotta get hungry again. You gotta want it more than your comfort, more than your sleep, more than your excuses. You've got to decide right now that nothing and no one is going to stop you. Not failure, not fear, not pain, not rejection. You want to win? Then flip the switch. Get that monster mindset. When life says a no, you get back up and you say, try me. When people doubt you, you work harder so they can't ignore you. When you're tired, you push through because the old you would have quit. But monsters don't quit. Monsters dominate. Flipping the switch is about changing everything inside of you. From the second you decide that average is no longer acceptable, it's about taking that little light inside you that's been flickering and turning it into a fire that can't be put out. Most people never make the decision to flip the switch. They live their whole lives halfway committed, halfway in the game, halfway chasing their goals. They talk about success, they dream about it, they write it down on paper, but they never flip the switch inside their soul that says, I will not stop until it's done. Flipping the switch means you stop waiting for motivation to magically show up and you create your own drive. You stop waiting for opportunities and you start knocking doors down until you get what you came for. You stop waiting for the perfect time because you know there's no perfect time. There's only right now. There's only this moment. And if you don't act in this moment, you're gonna lose momentum and let life pass you by. When you flip the switch, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop saying, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll start my business next year. I'll wake up early next week. You stop lying to yourself and you stop giving yourself these soft landings every time you fail. You flip the switch and say, this is who I am now. I'm a finisher. I'm consistent. I'm disciplined. I do what I say I'm going to do. When that switch is flipped, you start getting up before the alarm clock. You start putting in work when nobody is watching. You start going the extra mile even when you don't feel like it. You create a version of yourself that operates on commitment, not on feelings. Feelings will tell you to stay in bed. Feelings will tell you to take a break. Feelings will tell you that you're tired. That's okay to rest, that you've done enough. But when you flip the switch, you stop listening to feeling and you start listening to your purpose. Your purpose becomes louder than your pain, louder than your fear, louder than your doubts. Flipping the switch is not a one-time thing, it's a daily decision. Every single day you wake up, you decide again, am I gonna be average today or am I going to be a monster? Every morning you decide whether to hit snooze or get up and chase greatness. Every time you face a problem, you decide whether you're going to complain about it or solve it. That's what flipping the switch is all about. Training your mind to choose action over hesitation, discipline over excuses, courage over fear. You reprogram your brain to default to forward motion. You stop overthinking, you stop waiting for someone to rescue you, you stop waiting for permission, you stop living like a victim of your circumstances, and you start acting like the author of your story. People won't understand it when you flip the switch. They'll think you've changed. And you have. You've changed because you're no longer available for mediocrity. You no longer waste time on gossip, negativity, and distractions. You stop answering calls from people who drain your energy. You stop scrolling for hours on social media. You stop numbing yourself with things that keep you small. Instead, you start putting that time into your grind, into your vision, into building the life you said you wanted. And yes, it gets lonely sometimes because flipping the switch will separate you from the pack. But that's the price of greatness. You can't run with the pack and be a monster at the same time. Monsters move different. Monsters train different. Monsters think different. Flipping the switch also means you develop a new level of focus. You lock in. You get tunnel vision on your goals. Distractions will still show up, but now you see them for what they are. Traps designed to pull you off your path. You learn to say no to the things that don't serve you. You learn to say yes to the hard work. You learn to embrace the grind because you understand everything you want is on the other side of effort. You can't be casual about your dream. You can't casually want to be successful. Casual desire leads to casual results. When the switch is flipped, desire becomes obsession. You think about it, you plan for it, you execute on it day after day until it becomes your reality. And make no mistake, flipping the switch doesn't mean you won't face adversity. It doesn't mean the path will be smooth. In fact, when you flip the switch, life might test you even harder just to see if you're serious. You'll have days when nothing goes right, when everything feels heavy, when quitting looks like the easiest option. But that's when you remind yourself, I flipped the switch. There's no going back. I can't go back to who I used to be. You've burned the bridges behind you. You shut the door on the old you. You've told yourself, I will not quit. I will not stop. I will not give up until I get what I came for. That's what flipping the switch is about. It's a commitment with no exit strategy, no plan B. You give yourself no way out. So the only option is to go forward. When you flip the switch, you also raise your standards. You stop tolerating things you used to tolerate. You stop saying yes to mediocrity. You stop surrounding yourself with people who aren't on your level. You stop accepting excuses from yourself and others. Your circle gets smaller but stronger. You look for people who are going to challenge you, push you, and hold you accountable. Because you know you can't stay on fire by yourself forever. You need to be around other people who are lit up, who are chasing greatness too, who make you level up every time you talk to them. Flipping the switch creates a new identity. And with that new identity comes new habits, new standards, and new results. And here's the thing, flipping the switch is the difference between wishing for success and working for success. It's the difference between hoping for change and creating change. Most people will never flip the switch because it's easier to stay comfortable. It's easier to keep blaming the economy, the government, their boss, their past, their parent. But not you. You made a decision that you're done playing small. You made a decision that you're going to go get what's yours. You made a decision that you're going to wake up every single day and fight for it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future depends on it. Your legacy depends on it. The people who are counting on you depend on it. When you flip the switch, you stop living for the weekend. You stop living paycheck to paycheck. You stop living for comfort. You start living for purpose. You start living for impact. You start living with intensity. You start living with passion. You start living like every day matters, because it does. You stop wasting time because you know you can never get it back. You treat every minute like it's precious. You stop letting fear control you because fear can't survive where faith lives. You stop letting doubt control you because doubt can't survive where action lives. You stop letting laziness control you because laziness can't survive where hunger lives. Flipping the switch is the most powerful thing you can do because once you do it, everything changes. Your mindset changes, your work ethic changes, your results change. You look back a year later and you don't even recognize the old you. You see someone who was asleep at the wheel, just going through the motions. And you're grateful you woke up. You're grateful you made that decision to stop playing small. You're grateful you flipped the switch and decided to live like a monster. Because now you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're not just talking about success, you're living it. You're not just dreaming about a better life, you're building it. And it all started with that one decision, to flip the switch and never turn it off. Finishing like a monster means you don't just start strong, you finish stronger. Too many people start something with excitement and energy. They're fired up. They talk big. They post about it. They tell everybody what they're going to do. And then when the hype dies down, they disappear. They quit when it gets hard. They slow down when no one's cheering. They fade away when they get tired. But when you decide to finish like a monster, you make up your mind that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how heavy it feels, you will cross that finish line. You're not satisfied with almost. You're not okay with nearly. You're not impressed with participation. You want to finish? You want to complete it. You want to walk away knowing you left nothing on the table. Finishing like a monster means you refuse to coast at the end. Most people get close to their goal and they relax. They think the job is done because they can see the finish line. They slow down, they get sloppy, they take shortcuts, but not you. You turn it up. You get even more focused, even more disciplined, even more determined because you know the last few steps are where most people quit. You know the hardest part of the race is at the end when you're tired, when your legs are burning, when your mind is screaming to stop. And that's exactly where you decide to dig deeper. You find strength you didn't know you had. You remind yourself why you started. You remind yourself of all the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices you made to get this far. You tell yourself, I didn't come this far just to come this far. Finishing like a monster also means you are consistent all the way through. You don't let your emotions control your effort. You don't let bad days make you quit. You don't let small setbacks throw you off. You show up every day with the same energy you had on day one, maybe even more. You understand that real champions are not the ones who start the fastest, but the ones who keep going when everyone else has stopped. The ones who finish with excellence. The ones who refuse to cut corners. The ones who hold themselves to a high standard, even when nobody is watching. When you finish like a monster, you are your own referee, your own coach, your own critic. You don't need applause. You don't need recognition. You know what you owe yourself, and you refuse to stop until you pay that debt in full. There's a special kind of power in finishing what you start. It builds confidence, it builds momentum, it builds character. Every time you finish something hard, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted with bigger challenges. You prove to yourself that you are disciplined, you are committed, you are capable, and that changes how you see yourself. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and fails, and you start seeing yourself as someone who conquers. That shift is everything. Because once you see yourself as a finisher, you attack every goal with a different energy. You don't wonder if you'll make it. You know you will because that's who you are now. You are a finisher. Finishing like a monster also sets you apart from the crowd. Anybody can start something. Starting doesn't make you special. Finishing does. That's why the world remembers finishers, not starters. History doesn't celebrate the people who almost made it. No one talks about the teams that led the game for 3 quarters and lost in the 4th. No one remembers the people who almost ran the marathon. The respect goes to those who push through the pain and finish strong. And when you finish like a monster, you don't just inspire yourself. You inspire everyone watching you. You show them what it looks like to stay committed until the end. You show them what it looks like to fight for what you want, even when it's not easy. You show them that greatness is not just about talent or luck, it's about persistence, grit, and refusing to quit. To finish like a monster, you have to keep the same hunger you had at the beginning. Maybe even more. You have to be willing to give that final push when your body and mind want to quit. That's when you have to remind yourself why you start, or remind yourself why you start in the first place. You have to replay your vision, replay your goals, replay that pain that made you want change in the first place. You have to push through every excuse, every distraction, every ounce of resistance until the job is done. There will always be reasons to stop. There will always be voices in your head telling you that you've done enough, that you deserve a break, that it doesn't matter if you finish, but you ignore those voices and you keep moving. You refuse to let temporary feelings destroy permanent results. Finishing like a monster also means having the courage to hold yourself accountable. It's easy to blame other people, to blame circumstances, to say you didn't finish because life got in the way. But finishing strong requires you to look in the mirror and own every choice you make. It requires you to say, no excuses. If I didn't finish, it's because I didn't do what I needed to do. That level of honesty is uncomfortable, but it's powerful because it forces you to take control. It forces you to adjust, to work harder, to do better next time. And when you finally do finish, you feel unstoppable because you know you earned it. No shortcuts, no handouts, no luck. Just hard work, sacrifice, and relentless commitment. And here's the beautiful thing about finishing like a monster. It doesn't just apply to one goal. Once you learn how to finish one thing strong, you can apply that mindset to every area of your life. You can finish school strong, finish projects strong, finish seasons strong, finish relationships strong, finish life strong. You stop being the person who leaves things half done. You stop being the person who is full of potential, but empty on results. You start being the person who gets things done, who closes the loop, who sees things through no matter how hard it gets. That's what separates the amateurs from the professionals, the dreamers from the doers, the average from the great. Finishing like a monster also teaches you resilience, because the truth is life will throw everything it can at you when you get close to the finish line. It will test your patience, your discipline, your focus. It will tempt you to settle for almost there. But when you have that monster mentality, you smile at the challenge. You embrace the fight. You dig deeper and you keep going because you know that the reward is always sweetest at the end. You know that everything you went through, the pain, the struggle, the late nights, the sacrifices will all be worth it once you finish. And you know that if you quit now, you'll have to live with regret, and regret is heavier than any obstacle you could face. Finishing like a monster is the ultimate statement of who you are. It's you telling the world that you refuse to leave anything undone. It's you proving that you are not like everyone else who quits when it gets tough. It's you taking control of your destiny. It's you saying, I will not let fear win. I will not let laziness win. I will not let doubt win. I will win. And when you finish strong, it changes you forever. It makes you hungrier, more confident, more disciplined. It sets a new standard for what you expect from yourself. It raises the bar so high that anything less than excellence feels unacceptable. And that's how you keep growing, keep leveling up, keep becoming a better version of yourself. So finishing like a monster is not just about crossing the line. It's about crossing it with power, with pride, with purpose. It's about giving everything you got until there's nothing left to give. It's about leaving a mark, leaving a legacy, leaving no doubt that you showed up and gave your all. And once you do it once, you will want to do it again and again, because the feeling of finishing strong is addictive. It makes you unstoppable. It makes you dangerous. It makes you exactly what you said you wanted to be from the start, a monster. Outworking everyone is a choice that very few people are willing to make. And that's why very few people ever rise to the top. It is not about talent. It is not about luck. It is not about who had the easiest start in life. It is about who was willing to put in more hours, more sweat, more discipline than everybody else. Outworking everyone means you are not measuring yourself against average. You are not asking what are other people doing and then doing just enough to keep up. You are asking, what do I need to do to be the best? And then doing more than anyone around you is willing to do. This waking up earlier, staying later, going harder, refusing to be out-hustled by anyone. When other people are sleeping, you are working. When other people are relaxing, you are grinding. When other people are making excuses, you are making progress. Outworking everyone starts with understanding that work is the only thing you can control. You cannot control whether life is fair. You cannot control what people say about you. You cannot control whether you get the same opportunities as someone else. But you can control how hard you work. You can control whether you get 50% or 150%. You can control whether you use every second of your day to get closer to your dream. That is the power of work. It levels the playing field. It gives the underdog a chance. It gives the person with no connections, no money, no special advantages a way to still win, because nobody can stop you from outworking them. They can be more talented than you. They can be smarter than you. They can even have a head start on you, but they cannot work harder than you if you make up your mind to give everything you have every single day. Outworking everyone also means you develop a relationship with consistency. It is not enough to work hard once in a while, to grind when you feel motivated, to go all only when it is convenient. You have to make hard work a habit, something you do even when no one is watching, even when there's no immediate reward, even when you are tired. Consistency is what separates those who get results from those who just talk about it. Anybody can show up when they feel good. Anybody can go hard for a week. But outworking everyone means showing up on the days when you do not want to, on the days when you are discouraged, on the days when it feels like nothing is happening. It's happening. It is in those moments that you prove to yourself that you are serious, that you are committed, that you are not just in it for the hype, but for the long haul. When you decide to outwork everyone, you stop counting hours and you start counting results. You stop looking at the clock and you start looking at what you have accomplished. You stop saying, I've worked enough today, and you start asking, what else can I do before I go to bed to get closer to my goal? You are not satisfied with doing what is required. You want to do what is exceptional. You want to be so prepared that no one can question whether you deserve the win. You want to be so skilled that when the opportunity comes, you are ready. That is what happens when you outwork everyone. You position yourself so that when your moment arrives, you do not choke, you do not hesitate, you do not miss it, you seize it. Outworking everyone requires sacrifice. It means saying no to things other people say yes to. It means missing parties, skipping distractions, ignoring what is popular so you can focus on what is necessary. It means losing sleep sometime. It means sweating when others are comfortable. It means being willing to look obsessive because you are chasing something that matters. Most people will not understand it. They will tell you that you work too hard, that you need to take it easy, that you need to slow down. But you are not living their life. You are living yours. And you know that what you are building requires every ounce of effort you have. You know that nothing great is built by being comfortable. You know that the only way to separate yourself from the pack is to do what the pack is unwilling to do. Outworking everyone also transforms you on the inside. It builds mental toughness, because day after day you are proving to yourself that you can push beyond your limits. It builds discipline, because you are training yourself to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. It builds confidence, because you know nobody can match your grind. You know that if success was based purely on work, you have already won. That gives you an edge. That gives you swagger. That gives you the courage to walk into any room, knowing that you belong there because you paid the price. And make no mistake, outworking everyone is not just about physical effort. It is also about working smart. It means being intentional about how you spend your time. It means prioritizing what actually moves the needle, instead of staying busy with things that do not matter. It means studying your craft, learning from mentors, analyzing your mistakes, getting better every single day. It means understanding that effort without strategy is wasted energy. So you plan, you track your progress, you adjust when necessary, but you never slow down. You work with purpose. You work with the mindset that every action you take is either getting cake, is either getting you closer to your goal or pushing you further away. When you outwork everyone, people notice. They may not say it, they may even hate on you, but they notice. They see you showing up early. They see you staying late. They see you improving while everyone else stays the same. And eventually your results speak louder than any words ever could. People cannot deny someone who consistently puts in the work. They may try to ignore you at first. They may try to dismiss you. But sooner or later, they have to respect what you have built with your relentless effort. Outworking everyone also gives you peace of mind. Because even if you fail, you know you did everything you could. You know you left nothing on the table. You know that if it did not happen, it was not because you were lazy or distracted or careless. It just was not your time yet. And that allows you to keep going without regret, without guilt, without that voice in your head wondering, what if I had tried hard? You never have to wonder because you know you gave it everything. The truth is, most people will not be willing to make the decision to outwork everyone. They will complain about why they are not successful. They will envy people who are, they will wait for some miracle to happen. But you are different. You have chosen to be relentless. You have chosen to put in the hours no one sees, to do the work no one claps for, to build something brick by brick while others are watching television or scrolling their phones. You have chosen to rise earlier, stay later, go harder. You have chosen to make yourself undeniable through your work ethic. And here is the best part. Once you get used to outworking everyone, it becomes who you are. It becomes part of your identity. You stop having to push yourself to work hard because it is no longer a struggle. It is just what you do. It becomes natural. And that is when you become dangerous because now you have built a lifestyle of discipline, a rhythm of consistent effort that compounds over time. While others are just starting and stopping, you are building momentum day after day until it becomes impossible to catch you. Outworking everyone is not glamorous. Most of the time it is lonely, it is exhausting, it is repetitive. But that is what makes it so powerful, because most people will quit long before they see results. If you stay in the game, if you keep showing up, if you keep outworking everyone, eventually you will rise to the top, because there will be nobody left who stayed consistent long enough to compete with you. That is the reward of hard work. Not just the success it brings, but the person it makes you along the way. You become disciplined. You become resilient. You become unstoppable. And in the end, you do not just outwork everyone else, you outwork the old version of yourself. You become someone you can be proud of, someone who inspires others, someone who leaves no doubt that they earned everything they have. Embracing discomfort is where real growth begins, because everything you want, everything you dream about, every goal you have is sitting just outside of your comfort zone. Comfort is easy, it's safe, it's predictable. It keeps you warm, it keeps you calm, but it also keeps you small. Comfort convinces you to settle for less than you're capable of. It whispers that tomorrow is a better day to start. It tells you that you've done enough, that you've earned the right to relax. And as long as you listen to it, you'll never reach your full potential. Embracing discomfort is about flipping the script and saying, if this scares me, if this challenges me, if this feels hard, then this is exactly what I need to do. It's about running toward the very thing that most people run away from. Discomfort is the price of greatness. There's no success story that doesn't involve pain, sacrifice, and pressure. If you want to be stronger, you have to lift weights that feel heavy. If you want to build endurance, you have to push past the point where you want to stop. If you want to become mentally tough, you have to go through situations that test your patience, your courage, and your faith. Growth never happens in the easy zone. It happens in the hard zone, in the moments when you're sweating, when you're nervous, when you're tired, when everything in you wants to quit, but you keep going anyway. Embracing discomfort is a choice to live in that space longer than anyone else. When you start embracing discomfort, you begin to see challenges differently. Instead of complaining about obstacles, you start welcoming them because you know they are making you better. Every difficult situation becomes training. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every painful moment becomes an opportunity to toughen your mind. The more you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the more you realize you can survive them. And once you realize you can survive them, you stop fearing them. Fear loses its grip because you've proven to yourself that you can handle what you thought would break you. Embracing discomfort also means leaving behind the people, places, and habits that keep you stuck. Comfort zones aren't just physical, they're mental and emotional too. Sometimes it's comfortable to stay around people who never challenge you, to keep doing the same routine, to stay in the same job that doesn't fulfill you but feels safe. But if you want to grow, you have to step away from what's familiar. You have to risk looking awkward, risk making mistakes, risk failing in front of others. That's where confidence comes from. Not from playing it safe, but from stepping into situations where you could fall and proving to yourself that you can get back up again. You have to be willing to feel the discomfort of discipline. It's uncomfortable to wake up earlier than you want to. It's uncomfortable to turn down unhealthy habits. It's uncomfortable to say no to short-term pleasure so you can focus on long-term goals. It's uncomfortable to be consistent when no one is watching, when there's no applause, no immediate reward. But discipline compounds over time. Every time you choose discomfort over ease, you're building a muscle, you're strengthening your character, you're stacking small wins that eventually turn into big results. Most people never reach their potential because they run back to comfort the second life gets hard. They want success, but they don't want to sweat for it. They want change, but they don't want to be inconvenienced. They want growth, but they want it to feel good. That's not how it works. You have to train yourself to sit in the discomfort long enough to break through to the other side. You have to tell yourself, this is where I'm supposed to be. This pain is temporary, but what is building in me is permanent. Embracing discomfort also teaches you humility. When you're constantly stepping into new uncomfortable situations, you're putting yourself in the position of a student. You stop pretending to know everything. You open yourself to feedback, to correction, to learning. That's how you grow faster. By admitting that you don't have it all figured out, by being willing to look foolish while you learn. That's how you discover new skill, new opportunity, new strengths you didn't know you had. The truth is, the life you want is always on the other side of a series of uncomfortable decisions. The business you want to start is waiting for you to make that scary phone call. The body you want is waiting for you to get through those painful workouts. The relationships you want are waiting for you to have those hard conversations. The future you want is waiting for you to break free from the safe, predictable routines that are keeping you average. Every breakthrough in your life will be preceded by a moment where you had to choose discomfort over comfort. When you embrace discomfort long enough, you start to crave it. You start to associate discomfort with progress. You start to get excited about the moments that stretch you, because you know that's where the magic happens. You stop seeking the easy path, and you start seeking the path that will challenge you. You look for opportunities that scare you, because you know fear is just a signal that you're moving in the right direction. Embracing discomfort is also about mental toughness. It's about learning how to control your mind when it wants to panic, when it wants to run, when it wants to give up. It's about breathing through the pain, staying calm under pressure, keeping your focus on the goal instead of the struggle. When you do that, you build a mindset that can withstand anything. You become unshakable because you train yourself to stay steady in the storm. This mindset becomes a superpower because once you're comfortable with discomfort, there's nothing anyone can use to stop you. They can't scare you with difficulty because you thrive in difficulty. They can't intimidate you with pressure because you've learned to perform under pressure. They can't tempt you with distractions because you've learned how to stay focused even when it's not easy. That's when you become unstoppable because you've turned discomfort into your ally instead of your enemy. And the best part is, once you get used to living outside your comfort zone, that zone expands. What used to scare you becomes normal. What used to feel impossible becomes routine. And then you push yourself again, and it expands again. You keep growing. You keep leveling up. You keep becoming a stronger version of yourself. There's no limit to how far you can go when you keep choosing to step into the uncomfortable, because you're constantly evolving, constantly adapting, constantly unlocking new levels of potential. Don't you? Embracing discomfort is not glamorous. It's not always fun, but it is always worth it. It's where you earn your confidence, where you develop your resilience, where you sharpen your discipline. It's where you stop being average and start becoming exceptional. It's where you stop just surviving and start thriving. It's where you stop living life on autopilot and start living life on purpose. So you have to make up your mind right now that you're done choosing easy. You're done running from what's hard. You're done letting fear, pain, and struggle dictate your decision. From this point forward, when you feel discomfort, you move towards it. You chase it. You embrace it. Because you know that every time you do, you're getting one step closer to the person you were meant to become. When you decide to kill your excuses, you take full ownership of your life and everything in it. No more blaming your parents, your boss, your friends, the government, the weather, or anything outside of you. Excuses are comfortable because they let you off the hook. But they're also the very reason you stay stuck where you are. Excuses create a story that feels true, but keeps you powerless. If you want to become a monster, you have to rip those excuses out by the root. You have to stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I will. You have to stop telling yourself why it's impossible and start figuring out how to make it possible. Monsters don't have time to explain why they could. They're too busy making it happen. They're too busy making it happen. The truth is, excuses feel safe because they protect your ego. They shield you from facing the pain of failure. When you blame someone or something else, you don't have to admit that maybe you didn't work hard enough. Maybe you didn't prepare enough. Maybe you didn't prepare and make decisions for you. But growth only comes when you're honest enough to say, yeah, that was on me. I didn't do what I needed to do. I'll do better. That honesty is power. It's the key that unlocks change. As long as you keep pointing fingers, you will stay exactly where you are. When you take ownership, you reclaim control over your destiny. Think about how many times in life you said, I don't have enough time. But how many hours a day do you spend scrolling on your phone, watching shows, doing things that don't push you forward? Think about when you said, I don't have the money. How many times have you wasted money on something that gave you no return? Every excuse has a way to be crushed if you decide to face it head on. You might not have the resources right now, but you can become resourceful. You might not have the connection, but you can build them. You might not have the knowledge, but you can learn. Monsters are solution-oriented. They don't stay stuck in the problem. Excuses also come in the form of waiting for the perfect time. You tell yourself you'll start next Monday, next month, or next year when things calm down or when you feel ready. But there's no perfect time. The longer you wait, the weaker you become. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates results. You have to be willing to move forward even when it's messy, even when you feel unprepared. Monsters act first, adjust later. They don't wait for life to clear a path. They make the path by walking through the obstacles in front of them. You have to kill excuses in your relationships too. Stop saying you can't forgive because of what they did to you. Stop saying you can't trust because of what happened before. Excuses in relationships create walls that block growth. When you kill the excuses, you take responsibility for your healing. You decide that the pain will not define how you show up. You decide that you won't stay bitter because bitterness robs you of energy you could use to build your future. Monsters take that energy back and put it into something that creates life, not something that drains it. Even your health can't escape your excuses. You can't say you want to be great, but keep saying, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to cook healthy. Your body is your vehicle, and if you don't take care of it, it will break down before you reach your goals. Excuses about health sound harmless until they cost you your energy, your focus, and even your life. Monsters respect their bodies because they know they need them for the long fight. When you stop making excuses about health, you start creating routines that give you power instead of draining it. Excuses can even hide behind perfectionism. You tell yourself you're not ready because it's not perfect yet, but really you're afraid to put yourself out there. You say you're just being careful, but deep down you're protecting yourself from judgment or rejection. The problem is waiting for perfect will keep you from ever starting. Monsters are not worried about looking flawless. They are worried about making progress. They put out the work, give feedback, learn, and grow. They understand that the sooner they start, the sooner they get better. It's also time to kill the excuse of comparison. I can't do it because they're better than me or they have more than me. Comparison kills your drive because it focuses your energy on what someone else is instead of what you can create. The only person you should be competing with is who you were yesterday. If someone is ahead of you, use them as inspiration, not a reason to quit. Monsters study the competition to get better, not to get bitter. They look at those ahead and say, if they can do it, I can do it too. When you eliminate excuses, something powerful happens. You start finding solutions. Instead of saying, I can't because I don't know how, you start saying, oh, who can teach me? Instead of saying, I can't because I don't have support, you start saying, who can I connect with to build a support system? Your brain stops searching for ways to justify failure and starts searching for ways to make it work. That shift alone can change your entire life. Monsters are not victims of circumstance. They are creators of circumstances. This requires a decision every single day. Excuses will keep showing up, whispering in your ear, telling you it's okay to stay the same. You have to fight them daily. You have to remind yourself why you started, why you can't quit, why you can't go back to who you used to be. Some days it will be easy. Other days it will feel impossible. But if you stay committed to killing excuses one by one, over time you build a habit of accountability. That habit becomes your new standard. You start demanding more from yourself than anyone else could demand from you. Even your language has to change. Stop saying I can't. Stop saying it's not fair. Stop saying I'll try. Replace those words with I will, I am. Language is powerful. It shapes how you think and how you act. If you keep telling yourself you can't, your brain will believe it and stop looking for a way forward. But when you tell yourself you must, your brain goes into problem-solving mode. It starts finding possibilities you couldn't see before. Monsters speak in a way that fuels action, not excuses. Sometimes you have to confront people who feed your excuses too. There are people in your life who will always give you a pass, always let you off the hook, always agree with your reasons why you didn't do it. They mean well, but they keep you small. You need people around you who hold you accountable, who challenge you, who tell you the truth even when it stings. Monsters surround themselves with people who make them rise, not people who let them stay down. Killing excuses is not about being perfect. It's about being honest and taking action. You will still have bad days. You will still make mistakes. The difference is you won't let those mistakes become a reason to stop. You will acknowledge them, learn from them, and keep moving. That's what separates monsters from everyone else. They feel fear, pain, and doubt like everyone else. But they don't let those things become permanent barriers. They destroy the excuses and keep pressing forward. And here's the thing. Once you kill your excuses, you become dangerous. Dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to procrastination, dangerous to anything that tries to keep you from your potential. You stop being predictable because the old patterns no longer control you. People can't talk you out of your dreams anymore because you no longer give them power. You've made up your mind and nothing they say or do can move you. That's the level you have to get to if you want to change everything. Your future depends on. Every excuse you hold on to is costing you time, energy, money, and opportunity. You don't get those back, you only have right now. If you want to live at the highest level, you have to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. Are you doing everything you can to win, or are you just explaining why you can't? If you're honest and the answer is no good, that means you still have a chance to change it. Start today. Start now. Refuse to let another day go by where an excuse runs your life. When you kill the excuses, you unleash the monster inside you. The version of you that was always capable of greatness, the version of you that refuses to settle. That's the you the world needs to see. Staying hungry is not just about ambition. It's about never letting yourself get comfortable enough to stop chasing more. It's about living every single day with that fire in your chest, that urge to keep moving forward, to keep leveling up, to keep going, even when you have already accomplished things others will call success. The moment you stop being hungry, you stop being hungry, you start slipping backward. Life does not stand still. If you aren't growing, you're shrinking. Staying hungry means waking up with the same determination you had on day one, the same drive you had when nobody believed in you, the same passion you had when you were fighting for that first win. You can't lose that edge. The second you think you've made it, you start to lose everything you worked for. Hunger is what makes you train when everyone else is sleeping. Hunger is what makes you study when everyone else is partying. Hunger is what makes you keep going after 10 failure because you know success might be hiding behind the 11th try. When you stay hungry, you keep yourself from falling into the trap of complacency. Too many people work hard to climb the mountain, get to the top, and then stop climbing. Then stop climbing. They celebrate so much that they forget there are bigger mountains ahead. The ones who stay hungry are already looking for the next peak to climb before they even finish celebrating the last one. You can't fake hunger. You can't pretend to want something and expect to have the energy to whatever it takes to get it. The hunger is deep. It's primal. It's the thing that pulls you out of bed at 4 a.m. because you know there's more to do. It's more to do. It's what makes you sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. When you stay hungry, you stop thinking about what feels good right now and start focusing on what's going to get you to where you want to be 5 years from now. Hunger sharpens your focus. It forces you to stop wasting time on distractions because every minute matters when you have goals that big. But staying hungry doesn't mean you are never satisfied. It means you are grateful, but not done. You appreciate what you have, but you know there's more inside you. You know there are new skills you can develop, new levels you can unlock, new challenges you can conquer. Being hungry keeps you humble because you never think you've arrived. You keep learning, keep improving, keep refining. You look at every win not as a finish line, but as proof that you can go even further. Staying hungry also requires you to create new goals as soon as you achieve the old ones. If you don't, your energy will start to fade. You'll lose your sense of direction. You'll start to feel empty even if you're successful. That's why the most driven people keep moving the target. They know that the pursuit is what keeps them alive, not just the prize. You can't let yesterday's accomplishments be the reason you take it easy today. Monsters never take it easy. They know there's always someone out there working to catch them, so they stay ahead by refusing to slow down. Hunger is also about refusing to settle for average. Average is easy. Average is what everyone else is doing. But if you want to be great, you have to be willing to stay uncomfortable. Hunger forces you into places where you have to stretch yourself. It makes you pick up new skills you never thought you need. It makes you train longer, push harder, work smarter. Hunger will make you do what others won't, so you can have what others can't. But here's the challenge. Hunger fades if you let comfort take over. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. The more comfortable your life becomes, the more dangerous it is to your drive. You start convincing yourself you deserve to rest. You deserve to slow down. You deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Yes, you can rest, but only enough to refuel, not enough to lose your edge. If you rest too long, you forget what it feels like to grind. You start believing the world owes you something because of what you did yesterday. But the world doesn't care what you did yesterday. It wants to know what you're doing today. Staying hungry also means surrounding yourself with people who feed that hunger. If you're around people who are satisfied with mediocrity, who think small, who settle for good enough, their energy will dull your edge, will dull your edge. But if you're around people who are chasing big dreams, who push themselves to be better every day, their fire will keep yours burning. You need accountability partners, mentors, and peers who make you feel like you have more in you to give. Hunger grows when it's fed, and the right circle will feed it. You also have to protect your hunger from negativity and doubt. People will try to talk you out of going hard. They'll tell you you're obsessed, that you should slow down, that you're doing too much. But monsters don't listen to that. They know that the very thing others call ease what separates them from the pack. You have to silence those voices and stay locked in on what you know you need to do. When you stay hungry, you stop making excuses and start finding solutions. Hunger doesn't care about obstacles, it cares about outcomes. If a door is locked, hunger makes you find another way in. If the plan fails, hunger makes you create a new one. Hunger won't let you quit because it's not satisfied until you get the result. That's why staying hungry is so important. It makes quitting feel impossible. And hunger is contagious. When people see how committed you are, how relentless you are, they start to catch that same fire. They start asking you how you stay motivated, how you keep going. You inspire them just by the way you live. Staying hungry doesn't just change your life. It changes everyone watching you. To stay hungry, you have to constantly remind yourself of why you started. Write down your goals every day. Look at your vision board every morning. Keep the image of your future so clear in your mind that you can feel it, smell it, taste it. That vision is the fuel that keeps the hunger alive. If you lose sight of it, the hunger dies. That's why so many people start strong and then fade. They forget why they were fighting. The reality is staying hungry is not always easy. There will be days when you feel tired, when you feel like what you're doing isn't working, when you feel like giving up. Those are the days when hunger matters the most. Those are the days when you have to dig deep and remind yourself that you can't afford to stop. The pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. You don't want to look back and know you quit just because it got hard. Hunger will keep you pushing through those moments, even when your feelings tell you to stop. At the end of the day, staying hungry is a choice. You choose to keep going. You choose to set the alarm earlier. You choose to stay late. You choose to learn, to grow, to adapt, to keep fighting, even when nobody is cheering for you. And when you make that choice enough times, it becomes who you are. You don't just do hungry things. You become a hungry person, and hungry people are unstoppable. Staying hungry means living like there's always more to give, more to build, more to conquer. It means never letting your last accomplishment be your greatest one. It means getting up every morning ready to attack the day with the same energy you had when you first started dreaming. Because once you lose the hunger, you lose the fight. And once you lose the fight, you lose everything you worked for. Staying hungry is the only way to make sure you keep growing, keep winning, and keep becoming the best version of yourself. The monster that refuses to be satisfied until the mission is complete. Turning pain into power is one of the most important things you will ever learn to do if you want to reach the highest levels of greatness. Pain is universal. Everybody experiences in one form or another. It might be physical pain, emotional pain, heartbreak, failure, loss, betrayal, disappointment, or rejection. Most people let pain crush them. Most people let pain break their spirit. They give up, they shut down, they retreat into fear. But monsters don't run from pain, they run toward it. They don't let pain define them. They use pain as fuel. They take every heartbreak, every betrayal, every failure, and they turn it into energy that pushes them further than they ever thought they could go. Pain becomes the trigger that makes them hungrier, stronger, sharper. When you go through pain, you have two choices. You can let it weaken you, or you can let it forge you. Pain is like fire. It can burn you to ashes, or it can refine you into gold. The difference is in how you respond. People who let pain control them get stuck. They replay the hurt over and over in their minds until it becomes their identity. But those who choose to turn pain into power, take the lesson, take the strength, take the new perspective that pain gives them and use it to grow. They don't let pain go to waste. They squeeze every drop of meaning out of it and use it as motivation to keep going. Turning pain into power starts with reframing how you see it. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You start asking, what is this trying to teach me? How can I use this? Pain always has a message. It shows you where you need to heal, where you need to grow, what needs to change. It forces you to dig deep, to face parts of yourself you might not want to look at. That process hurts, but it also transforms you. When you allow pain to teach you instead of just torment you, you come out of it wiser, tougher, and more focused. Some of the most successful people in the world built their entire empires out of pain. They were abandoned, rejected, laughed at, counted out. And instead of letting those experiences destroy them, they decided to use them as proof that they had more in them. They said, I'll show you. They turned every tear, every setback, every sleepless night into work ethic, into focus, into passion. That's why they're unstoppable, because their fuel source is limitless. As long as there's pain in the world, they have power to keep going. You have to stop running from pain, because pain is the ultimate teacher. Pain will show you who you really are. Pain will reveal your weaknesses and force you to strengthen them. Pain will strip away your excuses, because when you're hurting, you can't fake it anymore. Pain is pure truth. It tells you exactly where you are and what you need to do next. If you avoid pain, you avoid growth. But when you lean into it, when you embrace it, you accelerate your growth. You evolve faster, because pain pushes you further than comfort ever will. Turning pain into power also means refusing to be a victim. Bad things might have happened to you. People might have hurt you. Life might have been unfair. But as long as you stay in victim mode, you stay stuck. You keep reliving the past instead of creating a future. Monsters don't stay victims. They turn their scars into reminders of how strong they are. They say, this hurt me, but it didn't destroy me. I'm still here, and now I'm stronger. That mindset shift is where the power begins. Pain is also the birthplace of empathy and purpose. When you've been through something hard and survived it, you are in a unique position to help others who are going through the same thing. You can use your story to inspire, to guide, to heal. Your pain gives you a platform to connect with people in ways comfort never could. That's how some of the greatest leaders, speakers, and innovators became who they are. They turned their wounds into wisdom and shared it with the world. But turning pain into power isn't just about motivation, it's about discipline. Pain will try to paralyze you, to make you shut down. You have to fight that. You have to keep showing up, keep putting in the work even when you're hurting. Some days you'll feel like you have nothing left to give. But if you can push through those days, you build a level of resilience that can't be broken. The very act of working through pain trains your mind to stop being controlled by your emotions. It teaches you that you are stronger than you think. There's also something about pain that brings out creativity. Some of the greatest music, art, and inventions came from people who were trying to process their pain. They channeled what they felt into creating something beautiful, something impactful, something that outlasted them. You can do the same. Instead of letting pain make you destructive, let it make you productive. Pour it into something that builds your future. Write the book, start the business, build a body, learn the skill. Pain gives you energy, direct that energy somewhere that matters. Sometimes the pain you face isn't from failure, but from success. Growth hurts. When you start leveling up, you lose friends. You face criticism. You feel lonely because not everyone is willing to walk the same hard road as you. That pain can tempt you to shrink back into the old version of yourself just to feel comfortable again. But you have to resist that temptation. That pain is proof you're breaking into a new level. Power comes when you endure that process instead of running back to what's familiar. Pain also has a way of stripping away what doesn't belong. It removes fake friends, false beliefs, and weak habits. At first, that feels like loss, but over time, you realize it was pruning. It was making space for the next version of you to grow. Power comes when you stop clinging to what pain is trying to take away and start trusting that what's being removed is no longer serving you. Even in physical pain, there is power if you approach it with the right mindset. Athletes train their bodies to endure pain because they know pain is what builds strength. The same applies to mental and emotional pain. The more you face and work through it, the stronger you become. Your tolerance for discomfort increases, and suddenly the things that used to scare you don't scare you anymore. The things that used to break you don't even faze you. You become unshakable. You must also learn to forgive as part of turning pain into power. Forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of anger and bitterness. Carrying anger keeps you chained to the pain. Forgiveness breaks those chains and releases energy you can use to build something better. Monsters don't waste energy staying mad. They use that energy to rise higher. Turning pain into power will not happen overnight. It's a process. Some wounds take time to heal. Some lessons take time to sink in. But if you stay committed to the process, one day you will look back and realize that the very thing that almost broke you became the thing that built you. You will thank the pain for shaping you, for making you who you are. And once you master this skill, pain stops being something you fear. You stop avoiding challenges because you know that even if it hurts, you will come out better on the other side. Pain becomes proof that you are alive, that you are still growing, still fighting, still becoming. That's why monsters are so powerful, because nothing scares them anymore. They know pain is just part of the journey, and they welcome it. The next time you face pain, don't run. Don't numb it. Don't hide from it. Don't drown it out. Sit with it. Listen to it. Learn from it. Then use it. Turn into energy. Turn into focus. Turn it into fuel. Build with it. Train with it. Create with it. Let it push you so far forward that you almost forget how much it hurt. That is how you turn pain into power. By refusing to waste a single ounce of it and letting it propel you into the best, strongest, most unstoppable version of yourself. When you reach that seventh stage of the journey, that moment where you are no longer just chasing goals, but becoming the kind of person who thrives in any situation, you begin to realize that the real work was never about the finish line. It was about who you had to become to get there. Becoming a monster isn't about being reckless. It's about being relentless. It's about reaching a level where no one has to push you anymore, where no alarm clock can wake you up because you are already awake before the world opens its eyes. At this point, you stop negotiating with your feelings because your mission is louder than your mood. You are no longer a slave to comfort, convenience, or instant gratification. You have built a system inside yourself that forces you to rise every day and execute, even when the applause is gone, even when the support has faded, even when no one is watching. This is where discipline evolves into identity. You no longer do the work. You are the work. You are the work. You start to understand that greatness doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It demands that you step forward scared, unprepared, tired, or doubtful, and still swing with everything you have. This is the moment when you stop seeking shortcuts and start embracing the grind as the only way to shape yourself into something unrecognizable to the old you. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it is necessary. The monster within you learns to run toward discomfort instead of away from it. You stop seeing obstacles as problems and start seeing them as the weights you lift to get stronger. When the world throws resistance at you, you treat it as a training ground. Every failure, every rejection, every delay becomes a lesson. You no longer cry over closed doors. You thank them for redirecting you to a better one. You stop complaining about the pressure and start realizing diamonds are made under pressure, not in comfort. You stop asking why it's hard and start asking, how do I get better so I can handle harder? You begin to separate yourself from the crowd, not because you think you're better, but because you've chosen to demand more from yourself. You stop looking sideways at what everyone else is doing and lock your focus on your own lane. You build a level of consistency that scares people because they can't understand how you keep going when most would have quit months ago. Your consistency becomes your superpower. It becomes a thing that sets you apart because talent might get attention, but consistency builds empire. This is where the monster inside you feeds. Not on applause, not on likes, but on progress. You wake up every day looking for small wins, stacking bricks until the wall of your dream is built so high it becomes unshakable. You learn patience, not the passive kind that waits around, but the active kind that keeps working while it waits. You realize success is not a lottery, it's a recipe. And you are willing to cook every single day until the meal is ready. When you operate at this level, you start to scare your old self because you no longer tolerate the excuses you used to live by. You no longer give yourself permission to play small because you know what's at stake. You know your family is counting on you, your future is counting on you, your destiny is counting on you. The monster within you does not wait for motivation to strike. It creates its own fire. It finds reasons to keep moving even in the darkest night. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. Your words become aligned with your actions. You no longer gossip about what others are doing because you are too busy building. You no longer waste energy convincing people to believe in you because you have learned to believe in yourself so deeply that it no longer matters who doubts you. You start setting boundaries because you know your energy is sacred and not everyone is allowed to have access to it. You guard your focus like a treasure because you understand it is your most valuable currency. This level of growth doesn't just change your habits, it changes your environment. Some people will no longer recognize you, and that's okay. Some relationships will fall away, and that's okay. The monster within you is not built to please everyone. It's built to fulfill a mission. You realize that the version of you that plays nice with mediocrity has to die, so the version of you that dominates can live. And this doesn't make you cold-hearted, it makes you committed. You are not ruthless toward people, you are ruthless toward excuses. You no longer let fear of failure paralyze you because you have failed enough times to know failure isn't fatal. Quitting is. You look fear in the face and take the first step anyway. You act faster, decide quicker, and move with urgency because you know time is the one thing you can't get back. The monster in you does not waste time. It devours it. Every hour becomes a weapon you wield in the fight for your future. You also start to inspire others without even trying. Your energy becomes contagious. People notice the shift in how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you work, and they begin to wonder how they can access that same fire. Without preaching, you become a walking example of what happens when someone stops living on autopilot and starts living with intention. Your life becomes proof that anyone can rise, anyone can change, anyone can win if they are willing to pay the price. You show others that it's possible to be humble but hungry, grateful but relentless, focused but flexible. And the more you grow, the more you realize that this journey is not just about you. It's about everyone who's watching, everyone who needs to see that transformation is real. Ultimately, becoming this version of yourself is about building something unbreakable on the inside. Life will still throw storms your way, but the monster you become is no longer shaken. You've built a foundation of discipline, resilience, and vision so strong that even when the winds blow, you bend but never break. You become dangerous to anything that tries to stop you, not because you are violent, but because you refuse to quit. You are a force that keeps coming day after day, week after week, until the mountain moves. And that is the power of reaching this level. You no longer just chase goals, you become unstoppable. The monster within you is awake now and will not rest until everything you were born to do is done. At the end of the journey, when you have fought every battle, endured every setback, silenced every excuse, and pushed yourself beyond what you once thought possible, you realize that the entire process was about transforming into someone completely new. You see, becoming a monster was never about intimidating others or proving people wrong. It was about proving yourself right. It was about finally becoming the person you always knew you could be. The person who doesn't wait around for opportunity, but creates them. The person who doesn't fear the storm, but becomes the storm. You have now reached a point where you no longer just participate in life. You dominated. You have stepped into a new identity, one forged through pain, discipline, and sacrifice, and you wear it like armor. You are no longer the same. The timid, hesitant, unsure version of you has been replaced with someone who is fearless, relentless, and committed to finishing what they start. You begin to understand that the real reward isn't just the success you've earned, but the strength, wisdom, and resilience you built along the way. Every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, every obstacle you faced was necessary because it shaped you into this. Now, when life throws something at you, you no longer panic. You smile. Because you know you have been here before, you know you've survived worse, and you know you will rise again. The monster in you is not driven by external validation anymore. It is powered by an inner fire that cannot be extinguished. This conclusion is not the end of the road. It is the beginning of a new standard for your life. You no longer ask if you will win. You expect to win. You no longer wonder if you will get through a hard time. You know you will. This confidence is not arrogance. It is the result of the work you've put in, the sacrifices you've made, and the consistency you built. When you look back, you realize that the people who doubted you, the moments when you wanted to quit, and the failures that embarrassed you were actually gifts. They were not there to stop you, but to prepare you. They were tests meant to harden you, to strip away the parts of you that were weak and uncommitted, so that only the strongest, most disciplined, most focused version of you remained. And now you carry that strength everywhere you go. You walk differently. You speak differently. You think differently. You become the kind of person who no longer waits for life to hand them opportunity, but who wakes up every day ready to take them. You are no longer surprised by challenges. You expect them, you prepare for them, and you use them as fuel to grow stronger. The conclusion of this journey is the birth of someone unstoppable. You don't just want success. You are willing to pay for it every single day. You no longer operate like the average person who needs to be motivated just to start. You are self-driven, self-disciplined, and self-aware. You don't run from hard work. You run toward it. You understand that the very thing most people avoid, discomfort, is where the growth is. And because you've learned to live there, to embrace the grind, you are always a step ahead. You are no longer shaken by delays or detours because you've learned that everything that happens is either a lesson or a blessing, and either way you win, you win. This transformation doesn't just impact you. It impacts everyone connected to you. Your family sees the change. Your friends feel the difference. Your community is inspired by your consistency. You become a symbol of what happens when someone refuses to give up, refuses to settle, refuses to accept average. And whether people cheer for you or criticize you, you keep going because you now understand your mission is bigger than their opinion. You are not here to impress anyone. You are here to fulfill your calling. And that calling demands everything you have. Every single day, you also learn the beauty of patience. You no longer rush the process because you trust the process. You understand that greatness takes time, and you are willing to keep showing up until the results come. This patience gives you peace because you are no longer comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You stay focused on your own path, on your own progress, and you keep building brick by brick. The monster in you does not panic when the results are slow because it knows that every day you show up, every day you put in work, you are stacking momentum. Eventually, the breakthrough will come. It's inevitable. The end of this journey is where you finally realize that there is no finish line. There is no moment where you say, I've made it. I can stop now. This is not a season of life. This is a lifestyle. You understand that the work never ends because growth never ends. You have made a commitment to yourself that you will never go back to who you used to be, that you will never shrink to fit someone else's expectations, that you will never stop chasing the next level. And this commitment keeps you sharp, keeps you hungry, keeps you dangerous to the version of you that wants to get comfortable. Most importantly, you realize that this entire journey was about building character. The money, the recognition, the achievements, they are just byproducts. What really matters is that you became someone who can be trusted with more. You became someone who can handle pressure, someone who can inspire others, someone who can lead by example. And because you become that person, life will now open doors for you that were once closed. Opportunities will find you because you are ready for them. Blessings will follow you because you've proven you can carry them. And every time you are faced with a new challenge, you will remember this journey. You will remember the pain, the sacrifice, the fight, and you will smile because you know you are built for this. In the end, becoming a monster is about never letting your fire die. It's about staying committed to the vision even when it gets hard, even when it gets lonely, even when it feels impossible. It's about showing the world, and more importantly yourself, that nothing can stop you when you make up your mind. This is not the end. This is the moment where the real work begins, the moment where you keep pushing, keep building, keep rising until everything you were created to do is complete. And when that day comes, when you look back at the life you built, you will know that it was worth every early morning, every late night, every tear, every sacrifice. You will know that you didn't just survive. You conquered. You didn't just exist. You lived. You became everything you were meant to be.